Boom. All right, we got to do the clap because Rome gets mad if I don't do the clap.
Yeah.
Well, Rudy, thanks. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Ben.
So you just told me you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Are you from Philly?
Born and raised.
Born and raised.
Yeah,
You still live there or no?
No, I don't. I live in Pasadena.
Oh, that's, I don't know if it's an upgrade or like a downgrade, but
I've lived in great places, and
Feels nice.
they're both really great. Yeah.
yeah. So born and raised in Philadelphia, in Philly, the city, or no?
Actually, I was born in West Philadelphia, and at age
like out of the song. So sorry, that was too
3
easy.
years old, we moved to the Philadelphia suburbs.
Where? What suburb?
We moved to Drexel Hill, right outside
yeah.
of Philly, and I went to Villanova University. Same as
Oh man,
Pope
look at
Leo.
you! Yeah,
In fact,
Philadelphia.
I was a freshman the year he graduated.
Yeah,
Yeah.
nice. My brother and sister-in-law lived in Pottstown.
Okay, fantastic.
That's where my
Yeah.
sister-in-law was born and
Yeah.
raised, and they've since moved, but they were there for forever. So
Yeah, it's a great part of the
Yeah, I
country
liked
to
it.
grow up. It really is.
I like Philly. We got a lot of Philly friends. You know Tom McCormick by chance?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, how could you
University
not?
of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, yeah.
A&M president for like 400 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big tuna. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Is he still
Oh yeah,
hacking at it?
still kicking. Oh, sorry, Tom, if you're
Hi to
listening.
Tom. Hey.
No, he's definitely not listening. You can say whatever you want. he's definitely not listening. No, that's good. So born in Philly, raised in Philly. You went to Villanova. What did you go to school for?
You had to back then. Everybody had to go.
Yeah, but what? Not, maybe not
No,
why.
no.
Like, what,
So,
what did you?
Business,
yeah.
actually I went for, tried to become musical theater. That didn't work out, so I
Look
had
at
business
you.
as a backup.
Musical theater.
Yeah,
That's great.
relative to healthcare, right?
Yeah.
I actually started my job when I was a senior in high school, registering patients in the emergency room at the Graduate Hospital at the University of Pennsylvania
Shut up.
on weekends and
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah.
And that's how I got into this.
So you were in registration.
Yeah.
That's
Registration
incredible.
on a typewriter.
Oh,
Registered patients on
with the cards, like the blue card, or no? Remember those like
the first
plastic ones? You
typewriters-
typed that in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Oh,
we had a big
before
it was
they had
called
the bands,
Monster.
right?
Yeah, we had the monster
Hell
that
yeah.
would bang out the 3D letters of the
Yes.
card and then run off the plates and everything. But the typewriter was a 5-part face sheet with blue carbon paper.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Between each one. The top copy was for nursing, second copy medical records data processing, business office, it's wherever the other one went. And so I would type in the patient's name. I'm in the emergency room. They're right across the window from me.
Yeah.
Make a mistake. So I'd have to roll the thing out, white out each of the 5 pages, white out the top, blow on it so it would dry, so it wouldn't stick to the blue carbon.
Yes.
White out the second one, blow it off so it would dry, 3rd, 4th, 5th for real. That was the deal.
White
and then
out.
put it back into the typewriter and try to line it up so I could get that digit corrected exactly where it was. And I was very good at that. So I did that for a number of years and loved every minute of it. That's my start in this whole business.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's great. Great.
Blue cards. Oh, those are good times.
They were good times. We were the weekend crew, so we really had things figured out. We became rebels to the weekday staff.
Of course.
As long as we got everything done.
Yeah, yeah.
So we would, for example, we had a Dr. Julius Newman, who was a plastic surgeon, really world famous Philadelphia high society cosmetic guy.
Yeah.
And he would have maybe 5 or 6 patients come in every Sunday, and he would do his surgeries on Monday morning. Each of his patients would come by white limo. You pick them up. So it was really a big
Incredible.
deal.
Yeah,
Not right.
incredible. Back then, you're like, this is
Right.
crazy.
So here is we're this weekend rebel staff, right?
Uh-huh.
So we come in on Saturday, and there's the schedule for Sunday, and no. We can't have these people coming in all afternoon. So we'd call them and rearrange the schedule, because we had to have everybody signed, sealed, delivered, lab test done, and into bed before the 1 o'clock start to the Eagles game, so that we could all sit around and watch the Eagles. So for real, I swear to God.
Rescheduling surgeries for the Eagles
We would
game is
call them and they'd
crazy.
say, well, they told me coming in at 2. No, that's
crazy.
been changed.
That's been changed. The doctor's like, wait, what?
Right.
does my schedule all
We
messed up?
really had a blast.
Yeah, that's
was a good time.
fantastic.
And so, we saw literally them come in at some point, take the typewriter off of our desk and put in the first versions of a computer, right? Which was back then called four-phase. And we would then type the
I've never even
stuff
heard
in.
of four-phase. Wow.
It was SMS, Shared Medical Systems.
Yeah, SMS. Okay, yeah.
And that was the first version. And what would happen when you type those in down in data processing, will literally print off, I'm probably showing my age, I am showing my age, print off an IBM 80-character card that would get fed into the system. We actually saw all that happen, and that's how the computer got fed. So yeah, it was quite, give me a great understanding, really, little by little, of how every field on that form, birth date, policy number, right, literally translated into, got its way to the UB. Back then it was the UB16, I think it was.
Right.
So really great education for how it all comes together.
Yeah,
It really
yeah.
served me well.
So you graduate from Villanova, and then where do you go from there? Did you get a job right in, you're like, I'm going to keep doing this weekend thing?
you know
or you're
what?
like, no, I should take a real job now. I don't know.
You know what, Ben? We all have these miracle people in life,
Yeah.
and those angels. So my folks died early in life. So I was, orphaned early in life. So a lot of wonderful, especially moms, just took me under their wing. So my supervisor at admitting was Jane McIntyre, the late, great Jane McIntyre. And she said, Rudy, you continue in school, you get your diploma from Villanova, and I'll get you an interview with one of my sons. She had two sons,
Okay.
Dick McIntyre, Bob McIntyre, God bless them both. And they both were managers at Shared Medical Systems in Malvern, Pennsylvania. So I got my degree, and she did get me an interview with each of those guys. And one was operations at SMS, and one was sales. And the sales was going to pay more.
Right.
And operations, right? So I'm trying to make that decision. And the operations guy, I would guess it was a bit of a rarity because they were hiring people off the street. At least I had hospital experience. Right?
Yeah.
So Bob, the operations guy, said, you really learn a lot. So I went with the operations job. And my job was to answer the telephone for my 13 hospital clients
Yeah.
in Michigan, Florida, New Jersey, I think where most of them were. And literally answering the phone, their payroll didn't run properly the night before, or this paycheck was wrong.
There was an issue, right?
They were the only
Had an issue.
systems that hospitals had was payroll, accounts payable.
Yeah.
For real.
Right.
And I didn't know what I was doing. And I put them on hold, turn around, talk to the programmers to figure it out, whatever. Get back here. All right, we're going to run it again. Oh, you're so great, right? So 18 months in, to answer your question, I get a call. It was snowing. It was January. I was at work. I get a call from Frances Johnson at Broward Health.
Yeah.
Back to North Broward Hospital District, one of my clients. She said, Rudy, we think it's time for us to hire a full-time computer person at our hospital, and we want that person to be you. So that changed my life forever. I had never been on an airplane. I went from Philly to Fort Lauderdale and spent the next 26 years of my life there.
At Broward?
14 years at Broward, all the way up to AVP, a revenue cycle. For real.
Incredible.
It has been a fantastically beautiful
Rudy, do you know
life.
Ray Barry by chance?
Yes, I
Wow.
do.
My God. Small freaking world.
I don't want to be, off the wall here, but is Ray still with us?
Yeah, Ray's still with us. Yeah, he's doing great. He's doing
Because
great.
it's like 30, 35 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell Ray hello.
I will. I will. He's on the board at Broward.
Wow.
That's why, yeah.
Oh.
That's why I was like, you must know.
But no,
Ray.
well then maybe he was back then, right? He's like a 40-year guy, or maybe I'm thinking of somebody else.
I might be thinking of somebody else.
Oh, no.
He's in his early 60s. Yeah.
Could be. I knew a
Yeah.
Ray Barry back then.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
But he's on the board at Broward. That's why I was
my
like,
Broward days I left Broward in 1998.
oh, so it's been a
So it's been a
bit.
while, yeah. I
Okay.
probably don't know that Ray.
That's right. There's a lot of Ray Berries.
Yeah, but I'm glad he's still with us.
God bless you, Ray. You're still out there. So you go. So you're there for a long time. Then where do you go? Where do you end up?
So then, I was hired by this gentleman who was up to purchasing mom and pop healthcare collection agencies
Yeah.
to create a national,
Yep.
right? And
Now a
there
story
was
that's been done a bunch.
I mean, they were
probably all
mom and pop,
disparate back
right?
then. Yeah.
And I said, no, I'm happy here. No, I'm happy here. He said, but I'll give you stock options. 2 years, it'd be $2 million, whatever. Right? So I said, okay. So I went, and it was the worst. I mean, we're here, so everything's worked out.
It was fine, but it's fine. Not the best move.
But I don't mind saying, he turned out to be a screamer. Like, really? And I said, what? And I came to learn later that he was a former Marine.
Oh, yeah.
And that's,
right.
I really
that's the
try to
leadership you knew, right?
put myself in his shoes. That's how he got things done.
Yeah.
But tough,
That's hard to take.
scared. Oh,
Yeah.
Lord. So first few times I thought, I guess if they're going to pay me this money, I can put up with that. And after a few months, I'm like, no, I can't put up with that. So that happened. A few other things happened. I actually went back to SMS for 3 years and headed up their business office outsourcing division.
Oh, that's right.
While they became Siemens.
Yeah.
I was there when they changed from SMS to Siemens. I did that for 3.5 or 4 years. And then Tenet decided to open their National Medicare Center in Boca Raton, Florida. Tenet was 129 hospitals back then in 13 different states.
Yep.
And they had just been fined by the feds in the largest ever OIG settlement in the history of healthcare.
Yes, I remember.
$90 million for one of their hospitals in Reading, Pennsylvania, was caught with memos of increasing CDM prices to get higher outlier payments.
Yep.
And there were memos literally that said, let's raise the prices so we can get a higher outlier payment. So as part of their corporate integrity agreement.
Not the smartest move in the world.
They're in
If you're
meetings.
going to do it,
like,
maybe don't
that's a
put
good
it in
idea.
writing. Yeah.
But it does kind of show how, if you're not thinking clearly and ethically, I guess they saw nothing wrong with it. They said, hell, there's the rules.
Nothing's
Let's
wrong.
do that. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a gray area. It's like, no, it's not gray. But
that was
fine.
in the 90s, the rise of the corporate integrity agreements.
Yep.
It gave birth to compliance officers in healthcare. They didn't exist before that because many of the CIA said, you will get a compliance officer, you will have a compliance plan in order to mitigate the fines, right?
Yep.
And one of the things that Tenet agreed to was centralizing all of their Medicare billing under one roof for the 129
the advent
hospitals.
of the CBO, right?
And for some reason, they picked Boca Raton, Florida, which is, 15 minutes from my house. And so I took that job.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Like the advent of the CBO, like modern day CBO, right?
That
Like
was really, really cool. And then, where's Conifer's right here, right?
Yep.
Tenet's business office became Conifer.
Yep.
They spun it off, right? And that was my final year there. Was just telling a person at lunch this. When they became Conifer, I was actually on the committee to find the name. It was a secret committee at Tenet called NUCO, NUCO.
Of course.
I don't know. When I went in, I had no idea what it meant, new company.
Yeah.
And we were strategizing about rolling this out, right? So my heart kind of sank because my experience with the vendor side wasn't so great with the screamer. But I thought, I'm going to stay and maybe it could be done right. Maybe it could, maybe I'll like it. When I've been a few months in, I'm like, no.
This isn't going to be my bag.
I'm a hospital guy.
Yeah, it was just hard.
So I left and went to Boca Raton Regional Hospital. Fantastic place. The highest percentage of Medicare patients in the country at the time.
Yeah.
Because it's a retirement community.
Yeah.
And that made a lot of sense because I had just done 5 years of Medicare.
Yeah, so you're like, all I do is Medicare, so I got this down.
Yeah. So it's been a really great career, great life.
So when did you end up at USC then?
So Boca was sold to Baptist and, all the stuff that goes on with that.
Yeah.
So I started my own consulting company of one so that I could, do some intermittent work while looking for next corporate. And one of my first clients as a consultant was USC. I had worked with USC when they were Tenet, so they knew me, they brought me on. And a year in, I became a full-time employee. They hired me on. So
Nice.
here we're starting my 6 years.
6 years you've been there?
Yeah. It's been great.
And you're running the whole thing, like running
No,
rev cycle,
I'm the
or
number
just-
2. Well, I don't want to. Hey, there's a number 1, and then there's 4 number 2s.
Yes,
I'm
I
one of the
got
4
you, I
number
got you.
2s.
But
No,
you're
I
happy
see.
doing that. You're good. You're good doing that.
Yeah, listen, let me give a shout out to our chief revenue cycle
Yes.
officer, Elise Myers. She's fantastic. She's been with us 1 year, like today, I think is
You
her
work for
anniversary.
Elise?
Yes.
I know Elise.
She's fantastic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
she's
Elise,
really
hello
wonderful.
if you're listening to this.
She's a big Seahawks fan, as you know. So
She lives in Seattle, yeah.
Her team's doing very well.
Oh my gosh, so well. Yeah, we don't need to talk about football though, because
Okay.
I'm a Lions fan, and so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
only misery for us.
It's 2026 season has started.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're on the clock. The draft is back
Yes.
soon. I'm so sorry. That's a fantastic. I mean, it's
Yeah, it's been a
really
great life.
awesome.
Life.
You've just seen so much.
Yeah. Really.
So if you go back to like young Rudy, you're getting started.
Wait a minute.
No, like I was just having this conversation with Noel, who just did podcast before you, and I was like, Noel and I've known each other for like 20 plus years, right? So it's like when we started then and when we're doing now,
Yeah.
he's doing a similar role that you are at PFS, So
Yeah.
it's like, I said, what do you think has changed? Like, what's different about now versus then?
Yeah.
If you think about that, like, what do you think would be like the biggest differences? And what would be like the most disappointing things that haven't changed,
Yeah.
and the most like actually this is a lot different than this used to be.
I guess the biggest, most significant is under the umbrella of productivity, right? Back then, you had 3 incomings, right? The phone, U.S. mail, and Brown Interoffice Hospital envelopes. So your incoming tasks came from those 3 places, right?
Yep.
Now it's like everywhere, all the time, right, from wherever. You have those things still, and you have faxes, and you have email. And not only do we have email, but we have, Teams.
Yep.
So the immediate
There's
stuff,
that,
right?
right.
And
Text messages.
100
and-
other things, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. The cell phone. So I would say that has been a productivity boom, right? For everything. We can do so much more than we formerly were able to do, whether you are a collector, a biller, or a leader. But it's also created a lot of, stress, dare I say, or is the stress level the same? I'm not sure. It's all probably subjective. But that's probably the biggest change. So many things have not changed. Authorizations, struggling with them back then, struggling with them now, getting data quality, right? 1-digit mistake in the policy number creates months of havoc.
Yep.
So a lot of the things are equally as important as they ever were. And then paper, right? We were all paper all the time. I had index cards, we had file folders, file clerks, alphabetizing. We used to interview people. Can they file these alphabetically properly or not? You'd be surprised how many people can't.
This is so true.
MC seems to screw up a lot of people. So, it just totally disappeared, all of that. I mean, completely gone away. And we went from that to scanners. We had scanning specialists, imaging specialists, and that's even disappeared.
That's
You don't
gone.
need to scan stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So many things. I used to code as a registration rep, ICD-9 codes from a Rolodex.
Yeah.
I would, abdominal pain, 410.9 was my MI. I remember that one. I used to code from a Rolodex because the ICD-9 had nothing to do with payment. Nothing, right? So as soon as it became the driver of payment,
They were like,
it became a career, right?
Yep. Now we got
With
coders.
certification and everything else. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So much has really changed to go on and on and on.
No, that's awesome. That's really interesting. You said the thing about, one of the things you said is, and it piques my interest to talk about more, is like, do you think there's more stress today than before? And is that I wonder if it's like, is the causal effect like, because there's just so much more coming at us?
As I
Like I don't know if it's
Yeah.
like better or like worse to get
Yeah.
mail, like, and not be able to know what you got, or like now that we know we got it, but there's so much of it.
yeah.
Like
I think
It's an open-ended question.
as the words came out of my mouth, right,
Yes.
I was like wondering about it, right? Because what is definitely true, and I really pride myself, although I take no credit, I live a stress-free life. I don't stress out at work. I even got in trouble once because I wasn't visibly
Upset about something?
about a big problem.
Yeah. You're not visibly upset. You're like, I don't know. This is like,
Really doesn't seem to care. No. So stress is, self-induced. Uh, Stuff that's going on here
very true.
might stress you out and not me, or vice versa, right? I think that's true.
That's totally true. Yes.
So then looking at me back then, you back then, would I have been more stressed out or less? I think the same. I mean, people used to smoke in the office back then,
Right.
like for real. And
real.
talking about stress visibly, right? Back to back. So I just think they would be equally stressed. It could be a sunny day, and it stresses some people out.
That's true.
So no matter what is going on, I think the stress is, we either figure out how to manage it and diffuse it, or we don't. And no matter what's going on, as a function of how well or not well we do that.
I agree with you. Definitely. It sounds like you have this like great demeanor about you. Like you're,
Like I said, I take no credit for it. I don't know whether my parents, I guess, or maybe because I had a lot of early death, right? Like parents and things passing away. I really think that's true.
how old are you?
I was 5 when my mom passed,
Wow.
and 12 when my dad passed. It was the saddest thing in the world. Right now, it's 50, 60 years ago. I've lived my mother's life times 3, right? Or times 2. Yeah, she was 28 when she died. So I've lived 2 lifetimes of hers.
Crazy.
It is crazy. But what it really did for me is set some ground of being where if the worst thing that can happen to you is the rug gets pulled from under you one day, which will happen, then, hey,
happen.
I could deal with anything else.
Yeah.
How bad could it be?
Right.
If it's not that, I don't think that way, but when I examined to find out why am I calm, I think it has something to do with that. Having lived through a lot of trauma.
Yeah. Clearly.
Right.
That's not an easy.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know. If
that's
you
not
wanna-
the half of it. Just to say, not to be funny. So my dad, when I was 12, so we moved in with my aunt and uncle. By the time I was 15, they had both passed away too.
What?
So I really, by the time I was 15, realized, okay, everything's not going to be okay. Like everybody says, it's going to be okay. It's not going to be okay. So I got this, right? I got this.
So when your dad died at 12, that was sudden?
Yeah, that was the saddest day of my life. Yeah, that was sudden. It's a heart attack. Because, when you lose your mom.
And your mom was sudden too, I'm assuming, right?
Well, sudden for me, I was 5. She apparently was sick for 3 months.
Okay.
Had a brain tumor, so mysterious. They didn't know what it was. And I didn't know what was going on. I was kind of passed around being babysat while she was in the hospital. But sudden enough, right?
And you remember, it's like you're 5. You
I have
remembered that, yes.
Views of her, right?
Yeah.
So when that happens, you feel sorry for yourself,
Yeah.
So I spent so much time feeling sorry for myself that I didn't realize, really, that I still have my father, and you could lose him at any minute. And it never didn't occur to me that could ever happen, like before everybody else lost their mother. Something, So when he died, it was such a shock and a life-changing, wake-up call.
It's almost like they're like, you died, like that can't happen.
Yeah.
Like I already had that
Yeah,
bad thing happen.
Yeah, exactly right.
Like this happens?
Yeah, but it really has taught me. I'm one of the best death counselors or grief counselors, and I love counseling people who are going through late in life cancer, terminal illnesses, or family, whatever, because the takeaway is love and appreciate the people that we're still here with. That is the takeaway. You spend time grieving, but not so much that you don't recognize how great it is to be with the people that are still here. And it's just like clear as a bell to me because of all that stuff.
That's so powerful.
Yeah.
It's really
So
intense.
it's been a good life.
I don't really know how to respond. You go
No,
from
it's really good stuff. Happy, good. It really
I
is
mean,
good.
it's
When
but
you
it's
take
so
everything in
good,
perspective,
Rudy. It's
nobody
so
gets
good.
out alive. Face to talk about it, deal with it, and then how great it is to be here. And that revenue cycle has had me see the pyramids, frequent flyer miles. We ate last night at Steer House, the
Oh yeah,
most
yeah,
unbelievable
yeah,
restaurant in the
crazy.
West Coast, where
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra sat on a toilet, where Sammy Davis Jr. said, things my father and mother never got to see or hear, all through revenue cycle. That's what this is all about. Whether it's frequent flyer miles or seminars like this, and just really, really, really. I never signed up for that, but those are some of the great benefits that come along with the whole career.
Yeah. Interesting. I love your perspective, man.
Thanks.
Well, it's just such a I don't know. I read this book a while back called Confessions of a Funeral Director.
Wow, I have to read that. I love
Highly
that title.
recommend it. It's written by a funeral director.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
And he's, I don't know if you know the funeral director, the funeral director world, but it's
Yeah.
basically it's kind of passed down to
Yeah.
this is a family business.
Yeah.
And so he was running away from it, basically.
Uh-oh.
Ran away. I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
came back to it.
Wow.
But his
wow.
parents, I think his parents died.
Oh, wow.
And so, and then he married another funeral director.
Wow.
But then he goes through this he goes through so much of kind of how we treat death in the U.S. in particular.
Yeah.
And then it's very hands off.
Yeah.
But in other
Unspoken.
cultures, it's very hands on.
Yeah, and embraced.
And so he's basically we actually don't know how to deal with it at all. And so then it's when it happens, it's so jarring.
Yeah.
And he's but the reality is we're actually we're hiring it out to deal with the body, to deal with.
Yeah.
And I'd never thought about it that way. I lost
really
my
true.
mom 6 or 7 years ago, very sudden
Suddenly.
one moment,
So sorry about that.
Yeah, it's
For real.
but it's life,
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where you're you don't really, you don't think it'll ever happen,
No.
and then it's
Yeah.
and then it does happen.
Yeah.
And then-
Always at a shocking moment. It's never the right time.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
Memorial Day. It was Labor
Yeah.
Day weekend. I'm on vacation. I'm
Wow.
in Lake Michigan with my wife's
Oh,
family. I remember getting the call.
Yeah. Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's awful.
So it's just one of those things where you're but the book was so powerful for me afterwards
Yeah.
of being this. He also said something else that brought to mind around what you were talking about. This is why it
No.
pinged my
go
mind. I'll get there at some point. He gave me the freedom of being that, because I didn't cry. I didn't ever cry at my mom's funeral
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
at any point. And I don't know, I'm not a big crier, and
Yeah.
so the whole thing was just but it was odd, even for me it was
Yeah.
this is weird.
Yeah.
But he was he basically gave me the freedom to be everyone's gonna deal with grief in their own way.
Yes.
And he kind of was there's no stage of grief.
Yeah.
When they tried to create the stages of grief, it was
Yeah.
just a way to
The 5 stages.
see,
of
but
grief.
that's not real.
No.
That's just a way for us to control it. You know what I mean? He's that's just a way for people to feel they have control. Or they he's but
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
Yeah.
And I was and then there was this moment after that I just broke down.
Oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, and it.
You can't plan it. You can't bring it on. It just.
No, and that was.
Yeah.
I was almost feeling guilty for not having.
And you shouldn't. Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but it was
No, it does. You never judge. I never judge anyone for the reaction to death, no matter what it is. My Uncle Dom got married. After a 45-year marriage, my Aunt Gloria died. 6 weeks later, he's married to a woman none of us had ever seen before. His kids were late. They were just what's happened? How could you do that? That was him. That was him. I've learned, you just can't judge somebody no matter what they do. Cry, laugh. My friend Tom's mom wore black for 45 years after her daughter was killed in a car accident. So I want to read the funeral home book. The funeral home director for the funeral home when my dad died, Robert D'Angelo, felt, you know, sorry for me, whatever, wanted to inspire me. So he let me start parking cars at the funeral home. I was 13 years old.
Yeah. Didn't
So
have
they
a
would-
driver's license.
But the cars would pull up. They're going to hold the door. I held the door open for Frank Rizzo, mayor of Philly, if anybody
Oh my
remembers
gosh,
him.
yeah.
With claim to fame. But at the end of the night, I'd go in to get my, I don't even remember how much, $10 or something. And, just how they would interact. For me, it was like this reverent, floral smelling, just my father was laid out there, just like what? And, to them, it's like you're in an auto body shop, So,
Do another one on Tuesday.
Yeah. Did you ever see the series 6 Feet Under?
I never watched it. I know you're talking
really
about.
good. Yeah, it was really good. So I'll check that book out.
Yes, it's really good. He actually talks about a number of like very spiritual, otherworldly type
Very nice.
experiences.
Yeah, yeah.
And that was
That's interesting. I like that. So, Echoes of the Soul would be my recommendation to you. Echoes of the Soul. The author is Echo Bodine. And whenever somebody can't deal with the death of a loved one, friends of mine, like really grief-stricken,
yeah.
I always give them that book, because it's the one book that made a big difference to me when a partner in my life, not to get too into it, took his own life. And nothing mattered, nothing would get through me. Then this book, finally, I couldn't stop reading, And it kind of was about different perspectives of life after death. So,
No, that's great. That's great.
yeah.
I don't know how we got talking about some deep
Right.
stuff, man. This is awesome. You know what I mean? You never know what's gonna happen.
Right. Unscripted.
You never know. It's so good, man. Your perspective is so good. It's actually bringing up a lot of like emotions for me, which is
I appreciate
fantastic.
that. It is, right? That's why we're here, right?
It's fantastic.
That's all we have, right?
I feel like it's like the last 3 years, people on the show know that I started my therapy journey, and
Cool.
like unpacking all that stuff.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I had not like childhood like yours, but mine was challenging.
Everybody,
Everyone's got their thing, right? As my therapist says, people have been abused doesn't make it equal,
Yeah.
but it doesn't make it not equal.
it's huge for the
So-
individual,
And
you know?
yeah, so it's like all those things. So you're trying to unpack all that stuff, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot more there. And I think I've had a lot of friends ask me like, well, like what does that do? What's the point of like bringing that stuff up? And I was like, and I'd always be like, well, for me, at least I had to like understand why I'm doing the things I'm doing.
Yeah.
And if I can't change it, I can at least be intentional about like, oh, at least know like I'm actually trying to prove to everybody
Yeah.
like.
Yeah.
And so one of the things I've learned, full circle to back to my mom, is I was like, I had kind of had this persona. I don't know if you ever heard this. There's this story in the Bible about Jesus. This guy, they put this guy on the mat, and his friends raised him up for Jesus to heal him. It's
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
and I kept saying like, I don't want to be the guy on the mat. I don't want to need help.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't want to
Wow.
be the guy on the mat.
Oh, you had that going on.
Oh, that was
before.
like, because my parents got divorced when I was young, and
Yeah.
my mom stopped parenting, the
Yeah,
whole thing, right?
yeah,
So I was like, well, I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm going to prove to everybody that I can take care of myself.
Yeah.
And so when that happened, it was like, well, I'm going to show, subconsciously, right? I was like, I'm not going to be that person.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
And I had to break that down.
Yeah. Fantastic. No, it relieves stress. We're carrying around so much stuff. There's another image that comes to mind for me with what you just said, and it's on the back of a holy card. I think it might even be my father's holy card, which is a Catholic card they print up for you when you pass away, and it's the image of Christ holding in his arms a defeated, deflated man, right? Just like who's just totally can't deal with life
Yeah,
anymore, can't even
yeah.
explain it.
Yeah.
And that is conjured up. And I think I do want to be that guy. I do want to rely on, that's important to him.
I feel like
Not the same as you, but
no,
I
it's,
just wrote up that image.
I get this sense from you that your people look at you and they see someone that has wisdom.
I don't know. I love my people, the people that work for me.
That would be my sense. We don't know each other actually,
We
but
are in love with each other.
that would be my sense that people would go to you.
Well, we are absolutely in love with each other.
I would want you
care
around
deeply.
just for the wisdom you got.
That's so kind of you. What gets me up in the morning, I went through seminars to figure out what gets you out of bed, and what is your role in life. Mine is creating a workplace that people love to come to every day. And particularly for me, creating a workplace that hourly people love to come to every day. They are not our kids. They are not inferior. They are more accomplished and heroic than me, raising kids, 2 jobs, getting paid a fourth, a third, an 18th of what I get paid.
Doing the work.
Unbelievable, I'm just so present to that, and we love each other. We absolutely love each other.
Take care of their people, man. That's what matters.
Yeah, and they take care of me. They do.
Incredible. Rudy, I don't even know what time it is. I'm sure. This has been fantastic for me.
For me as well, really.
It's really,
I feel like I'd like to continue in your life and just stay friends.
I would be honored to have you.
Me too.
I mean,
Thank
seriously.
you so kind.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Everybody, Rudy, you should know him. Maybe we'll do another show on the podcast and we'll
Thank you, Ben.
we'll talk about death again and do another. You read the book, I'll read your book.
Okay, we'll do book reviews.
That would be amazing. I would love that. Oh, it's fantastic. Well, thanks for doing the podcast. I know it's been a day.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it, sir.
Pleasure.
Okay.